Okay, so welcome back to Warren's Team Talk. Thank you very much for coming to look at my next video. Today I'm going to be doing part 2 of England's most successful club, and we'll be looking at the teams that finished 119th to 110th. So, as I said, thank you very much for coming to watch this. And I hope you're all okay and having a great day and that you're in good health and keeping that evil virus at bay. And yeah, I just hope you're all great and fine. Anyway, well, thanks again for coming to join me and watching the video. At the end of the video, there's a special message for a good friend of mine, Elton. Elton, I hope you like the special message I've got for you, which is at the end. Anyway, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you see it. Anyway, so moving swiftly on, let's look at the first team on the list, who are Fleetwood Town, and they finished 119th in they finished 119th in the little project that I did. So let's pull up their club crest. So here we go. Okay, so the next team on my list is Rushden and Diamonds, who finished 118th on the list. Now, I know a little bit about Rush. I actually saw them play Tunbridge Angels once in an FA Cup preliminary round, or anyway, the FA Cup rounds where they get played before the league teams get involved. It was at Tunbridge's ground at Longmead, and they absolutely battered Tunbridge. Although the scoreline was only 2-0, they dominated the game and won very, very easily. Anyway, so let's talk about Rushden Diamonds. So first of all, let's get up their club crest. And anyway, so Rushden Diamonds. In 2001, the club were promoted to the Football League, and despite losing the 2002 playoff final, they won the Tier 4 title in 2002-03 and were promoted. Then they were relegated, unfortunately, back to Tier 4 the next season. And then following on from that, unfortunately, they lost their place in the Football League in 2006. Then even worse was to follow, because the club were then expelled from the conference on the 11th of June 2011 because they were unable to guarantee that they would be able to complete all their fixtures for the 2011-12 season, and this ended up with them being liquidated. However, they were succeeded by a Phoenix club called AFC Rushden and Diamonds, and as far as I know, they are currently playing in the Southern League Premier Division Central. So that's good. At least they're now playing football again. And I understand that the major reason that the Phoenix club was able to be born was because of the determination of their supporters, and they helped them get this back off the ground, get them back out of their situation. So fair play to them. Anyway, so okay, so the next team that I'd like to talk about is Chester City. Chester City finished 117th. In 1983, they changed their name from Chester to Chester City. So before we carry on much further, let's get their crest up. And so Chester City, in 1983, like I say, they changed the name from Chester, sorry, to Chester City, and they were runners-up twice in Tier 4. One in 1985 and 86, and then were promoted to Tier 3, and they stayed there till 1992-93 when they were relegated. And then the following season, in 1993-94, they were promoted back to Tier 3. So the club were then relegated into non-league football in 2009, and then in March 2010, Chester were formally wound up after they unsuccessfully tried to join the Welsh Premier League. And in May 2010, a new Phoenix club, Chester FC, was officially established. So yeah, they've gone through the ringer a bit, all the ups and downs, and being liquidated and trying to get into the Welsh League and all this carry on. So those poor supporters, my heart goes out to them, because it must have been an absolute nightmare for them. Anyway, so that's Chester. Okay, so the next team is Wigan Borough. So let's see if we can find what we find out about Wigan Borough. And okay, so Wigan Borough, I don't actually have a club crest for Wigan Borough, but I do have a team group photograph from Wigan Borough, which is from the 1925-26 season. So let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, so this is the Wigan Borough team group picture from 1925 to 1926. And as their name suggests, they operated out of Wigan. And they managed to finish fourth in Tier 3 in 1928-29. Wigan Borough then applied for entrance to the Football League's Third Division North for the 1921-22 season. Now, this is where the story gets a bit weird, because despite only finishing 17th out of 18 clubs in the Lancashire Combination League, they astonishingly were granted a place in the inaugural season of the Third Division North. And then in 1928-29, they managed to finish fourth in the Third Division North. However, unfortunately, in 1931, the club went out of business, mostly because of the effects of the Great Depression, apparently. So, yeah, it looks like it was a bit of a short stay in the Football League, but they seem to do well for a little while, but then it sadly financial matters got the better of them, let's say. Anyway, so that's Wigan Borough. Okay, so sorry about that. There was a bit of a technical error there. The computer lost contact with my mouse and it all went a bit nuts. But yeah, so sorry about that. Anyway, so the next team on the list after Wigan Borough in 115th place is Fleetwood Town. Now, Fleetwood Town. Okay, so let's pull up Fleetwood Town's logo. Okay. Okay, so this is the Fleetwood Town club crest. I have to say I quite like it really. The anchor and the colours and the black and the white and all the rest of it, I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, so that's the Fleetwood Town club logo. Now, Fleetwood Town are famous for a number of reasons, mostly. Most recently, because of the fact that an ex-player of theirs is now applying his trade in the Premiership and doing really well for himself. That person, obviously, is Jamie Vardy, or as I like to refer to him, as Steptoe. So let's. So there you go. That's Steptoe and Jamie Vardy, and you can see the resemblance for yourself. Anyway, so going back to Fleetwood Town, not really want to talk about Jamie Vardy too much. Anyway, the club successfully won the promotion to the Football League in 2012 after winning the conference national title. And famously, like I said, this is where the infamous Jamie Vardy, also, as I said, also known as Steptoe, played for Fleetwood Town, and now he's one of the best strikers in England, playing his trade in the Premiership and doing really, really well. So fair play to him, great player. Yeah, less said about that, the better. Anyway, in 2014, Fleetwood finished fourth in Tier 4 and successfully won promotion to Tier 3 after winning the Tier 4 playoffs, which was the club's sixth promotion in 10 years. So they've done really well for themselves in that spell. Then in July 2016, the club appointed Uri Rossler, the former German international striker, as their manager, and who then guided the club to its highest ever finish of fourth in Tier 3, but they lost in the playoff semi-finals. Okay, so the next team on the list was Workington, who finished at 114th place. So let's get Workington's club crest up. Okay, so Workington finished fourth in Tier 3 in 1956-57, and third again in Tier 4 in 1963-64. From the 6th of January 1954 to the 15th of November 1955, the club was managed by one Bill Shankly, who obviously, as we all know, went on to manage the great Liverpool side, and he had a lot of success with Liverpool there, winning titles and many other things. So that was something I wasn't aware of, and I found that quite interesting. During the 57-58 season, they played the great Busby Babes Manchester United team at home in the third round of the FA Cup, which had attracted a record crowd of some 21,000 people. And this was just a month before, sadly, 8 of the United team lost their lives in the Munich air disaster. So, yeah, I mean, that was absolutely awful. But so moving on. In the mid-60s, Workington also gave debut to Peter Foley, who was one of the earliest black professional footballers in the Football League. He played over 80-odd games for Workington and as a forward, and scored 16 goals for the club in his time there, before moving on to Scunthorpe, where he kept out a young Kevin Keegan. He kept a young Kevin Keegan out of the team for a couple of seasons, before Kevin Keegan obviously moved on to Liverpool. So yeah, it's a club with looks like a rich history and tradition. So I found that quite interesting, that one. Okay, so the next team on the list is New Brighton, who finished 113th. Now, let's just get their information up on the screen. Now, okay, so New Brighton, when I first heard about this lot, I thought that they were from somewhere around the Sussex coast or something. But no, apparently they were operating out of Merseyside and out of an area in Merseyside called New Brighton, which I found was a bit of a surprise to me, really. But anyway, New Brighton, that's the team group photograph from 1948-49. And from 1924 to 28, the club managed top 10 finishes. With the closest they got to being promoted was when they got a third place finish in season 24-25, where they finished only 5 points behind the eventual champions Darlington. However, in 1951, they were unfortunately voted out the Third Division North and were replaced by Workington after finishing bottom. Okay, so the next team in the list is Burton Albion. So okay, so Burton Albion, were finished runners-up in Tier 3 in 2015 and 16. And then they've also finished 4th in Tier 4 in the 2012-13 season and missed out on automatic promotion by solitary 2 points. Then in the 2014-15 season, they won Tier 4 championship under the managership of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and were promoted to Tier 3 for the first time in their history. Then in 2015, Nigel Clough, son of the infamous Brian Clough, joined the club for his second spell as manager and led the club to a second place finish in Tier 3, earning promotion to the Championship, which is the Tier 2 of the English football, and which was another first for the club. So they seem to have done quite well, really, by the looks of it, in recent years. Okay, so the penultimate team in my list for this week is a team by the name of New Brighton Tower. And I don't have a team group picture for them or even a club crest, unfortunately. But let's look at what we have got. Okay, so the New Brighton Tower, basically the owners of the New Brighton Tower, which was a seaside attraction built to rival the Blackpool Tower, decided that there was a need to provide winter entertainment. And they had a stadium built which was adjacent to the tower. The football club was formed in 1896 to provide this entertainment, this winter entertainment. And in the 1897-98 season, the club joined the Football League. In their third season, they finished 4th in Tier 2. And unfortunately, because the club was so poorly supported and with average gates of just about 1,000, it became financially unsustainable for the club to continue. And the club was disbanded in the summer of 1901 and replaced in the Football League by Doncaster Rovers. Okay, so the final team in my list for this week is Burton Wanderers, who finished 110th in my list. In the 1893-94 season, they were elected to the 2nd division of the Football League. However, at the end of the 1896-97 season, after finishing second last in the league, they were voted out. So let's have a look and see what I've got here, because I've got an interesting team group picture of them. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, so this is the Burton Wanderers team. Now, I'm not entirely sure when this picture was taken, but it is, as you can see, it is quite interesting. I guess it's probably towards the end of the 19th century, just by looking at the clothes the people are wearing. But I have to say, if I was playing in that team, that geezer at the back with the hat and the huge beard had scared the living daylights out of me. He looks like something out of a bloody horror movie, to be quite honest, but there you go. He looks really bloody scary, but that's Burton Wanderers. Now, the other thing is, other interesting thing about Burton Wanderers was that in their time in the 2nd division, they finished 4th in 1895-96, and they managed to beat Newcastle United 9-0, which remains Newcastle's worst ever league defeat. So that's Burton Wanderers. So, okay, so that's nearly the end of this week's video. I just want to finish off by giving a massive shout out to my mate Elton. So there you go, Elton. That's especially for you, me old China. Keep those Eagles flying high, and make sure you do, mate. All right. You're a great friend, and it was lovely chatting to you about a week or so ago, and I hope you're doing all right. But anyway, let's have another chat soon. Anyway, so that's the end of this week's England's great most successful team, part 2. Next week we'll be doing part 3, and we'll be looking at the teams that finished 109th down to 100. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a great week. And please don't forget to put a thumbs up on the video or put a thumbs down. And if you want to make a comment, please feel free to make a comment, and please pass it on to your friends and family and anyone else who you think might be interested in watching it, because it helps with pushing my video up and getting distributed to people that don't already know about my channel. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to speaking to you all again next week. So thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.